think it's safe to say that Half-Life Alyx is probably the most anticipated VR game in history, with it being over a decade since the last entry in the series came out. Despite the fact that I have not played the other Half-Life games, I have been watching almost every YouTube video showcasing gameplay of this game, and there are a lot of things that left me really inspired with things I want to implement into my own game, as well as inspiring me to look back on some previous games and see what I can transfer into VR. Let's start with my favorite thing, the inventory, which looks something like this. Did you catch it? If you pause right here, you'll notice the player presses a button on the controller, a menu appears, and you grab a gun from that menu. That's what I tried to put in my game, as you'll see right now. I used VRTK's controller events to make a mini menu that when you hold down a certain button, the A button on the Oculus Touch controllers, a menu appears, you touch it with your hand, a gun spawns in your hand, and then you can put ammo in it and shoot it as normal. Then to remove the gun, all you have to do is press the menu button again, touch your hand to the empty hand icon, and then it removes the gun from your hand. Now for ammo management, I went a step further by adding this little indicator on my belt, and now when you grab an ammo thing, instead of being able to pick it up like an object, it immediately disappears with a cool particle effect, and then it adds itself to your belt inventory. Just like that. Now I will fully admit, this system was very inspired by Boneworks, a game which I've recently been extremely obsessed with. So next, if you grab the gun, what you can do is grab an ammo cartridge from your belt like that, and just plop it in the gun, and then you can shoot. Next, I wanted to expand on my force grab mechanic that I actually developed long before Half-Life Alyx was announced, by adding other abilities to your hand. To add some more depth to the mechanic, I added a little meter on the back of your hand that depletes and replenishes itself every time you use an ability, so the player can't constantly use them over and over again. I also added other abilities like being able to burst objects into flame, and also certain objects that have electricity, you can harness that and get giant electrical orbs that you can throw at enemies. Something that I think we all know was taken directly from BioShock. Now, I was heavily inspired by a game called Vampire, with a Y, where you can use your magic vampire skills to teleport to certain locations. Now, in this game, even though the main locomotion mechanic is arm swinging movement, there are certain points where using a special ability that you get later on in the game, you can teleport. So, in this example, there are certain points that have a billboard renderer, which means it always faces the camera, that if you look at it for a certain amount of time, for example 2 seconds, you'll automatically teleport to that point. Next, enemy AI is something I've been working hard on for quite a long time, constantly revising the same script over and over and over again. And I've yet to find a way to code the AI that works exactly the way I want, works well in VR, and is just clean and easy to add stuff to. Now, designing zombies is pretty easy because the AI can just be inherently stupid, but while there are zombie-like enemies in this game, I do want certain bad guys to kind of attack the player properly and pose a real challenge rather than just shooting them in the head. Because the player character is in VR and does not possess a real physical character model body, it's sometimes challenging to code the AI properly in such a way that it detects the player within a certain range and within the field of view. I also wanted to make sure that you can kill enemies using the environment, because I think that's really important rather than just using your weapons. I think it's super cool to be able to look around you and see what tools you can use, and then just eliminate any threats in the vicinity. Yeah, something like that. In other news, because of certain asset store assets that I want to implement into my project, I have to upgrade my project from 2019.1.12 to 2019.3. This poses an interesting challenge because originally, I was trying to upgrade to 2019.2 and it broke all the materials in my project, something that obviously I can't have happen again. So now, as I'm editing this video, it's currently upgrading the project, and hopefully it doesn't break everything again. I do have something cool planned for the next video, so hopefully that gets out as soon as possible. Thanks.